Hello, me lovelies. It's me, Ned Natter, with the famously unpasteurised and unfiltered Ned Natter Radio Show, ready to brighten your day. First up, it's great to be here again with you. It's time for a good old natter with an international flavour. But remember, I don't chat about the regular news and current affairs. Oh no, I'm here to give you a break from it all. Yup, a good laugh, even when it's only once a week on a Wednesday. Remember though, you can listen to all my shows again. Yep, they're all saved for you as podcasts at nednatter.com. Yep, okay, well, put everything down. No, everything, I mean you too. Come on, it's time for the Ned Natter Show, and you can't miss this. Here at Two Medicine Farm, life goes on, and Elsie, the wife, along with our temporary permanent house guest and expert on just about everything possible. Yep, that's Beyondit. Yep, that's Beyondit Brandisha Washington, or BBW for short. You know, they've been having a little battle of knowledge, you know. In reality, they know nothing useful unless you believe gossip has a purpose. But you see, like all cell phone addicts, they are instant experts here. It's just a matter of who can type in the search the fastest and bleat the results loudest in this ongoing game of idiot experts. What's worse is half the stuff they learn or spout was written by idiots too. Yep. So their version of the facts is about as accurate as me farm dog Clay's advanced algebra. Yep, it's like having April Fool's Day every day of the year. And sometimes the wife even repeats her recently acquired garbage away from the untrustworthy online world. Yeah, the latest was how earwax is a great cure for mouth ulcers. I was wondering if that idea had to only be for folks with extremely long tongues. On the other hand, I didn't look it up to verify if me idea was right. On the other hand, I suppose when you're confined to a sofa for life and forced to eat at least 8 meals a day, the options for any kind of recreational activity is extremely limited. So index fingers and tongues seem to be the only essential parts of the human body in daily use. Maybe there's actually something online about this latest shocking health issue. Oh yeah, it's called itchy digit and restless mouth syndrome. I wonder if it's spreading rapidly or only restricted to one farmhouse in Florida. Still on the farm, it hasn't been a good week for me poor old tractor. Yep, that's Big Bertha, me 1953 Ford. I was hoping she'd last me at least until her 70th birthday, but it looked as if she was coming up short at only 68. So I reluctantly called out me Ferrari-obsessed tractor mechanic, Luigi Spaghettori, for a second opinion. And he says she needs a lot of urgent work, which usually means, in his case, a lot of equally urgent money. Yep, that's how a farm mechanic keeps a luxury Italian beast in his garage. Yep, it might be older than the latest model, but he's proud of his Rosso Corsa red baby. On the other hand, Luigi hates tractors, you know. He even expects you to, steam clean and power wash them before he even gets close. But they provide him with a good living, I suppose. So I thought about it and decided to let him have a go at repairing her, but only on a very strict budget. The old Golden Jubilee, I wouldn't want to replace her, because the new ones, well, all plastic, aren't they? Complicated electronics, stuff like that. Anyway, once I'd nodded my head, Luigi soon worked out the problem. Quicker than usual, too. See, ding dang, me farmhand, me useless farmhand in this case, had put oil in the radiator and water in the engine. Oh dear, a disaster. I wasn't happy and out of pocket too, so I began thinking about, swapping his beer for weed killer. Maybe he'd find out just how my poor old tractor felt after being half poisoned. Fortunately, Luigi managed to get her running again, so Ding Dang avoided the imminent death penalty. This time around anyway. I just found a really unpleasant job for him instead, get me own back, The sump pump on the septic tank needs cleaning, so I told him to take it out and wash it thoroughly with the hose pipe. See, that method always guarantees an unpleasant backfire. Put it this way, he didn't exactly have egg on his face after messing up me tractor. Anyway, whilst we're on the subject of clogged up and clapped out old things, we better move on to the human version. Old Nan's buddy, Toshiko Suzuki, me lawyer brother, and black sheep of the family, Nelson Natter's wife and Beverly Hills sex therapist Heiner's now 103-year-old grandmother. Is still here. She's keeping me awful ancient aging parent, old Nan, company. Yep. Now Toshiko's confided in old Nan and told her she never plans heading back on to California. See, Nelson and Heiner keep her locked indoors and won't let her do a thing. On the other hand, she's been having far too much fun here and enjoys Nan's companionship too. Added to that, they're united in their old crow adventures, or what I call senior citizen terrorism. To date, they're already the scourge of just about every Florida tourist attraction they happen to visit. In fact, it doesn't have to be anywhere special, they're just a menace everywhere they go. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find all my shows again at nednatter.com, where they're all stored for you as podcasts. So if you want me repeats and want to listen to me voice all over again, stop by and say hi. Returning to the subject of old Nan, I wanted to mention that despite her trouble in getting around fast these days, she planned on giving Grandma Toshiko another local cultural experience. Well, Nan decided they needed more fresh air and a trip to the local Greenways Golf course. That was in order as far as she was concerned, and Nan had already taken a liking to the Golf Pro too when she saw his online photo. But when we got there, he'd aged at least 40 years. There's editing a photo, and then there's him. Old Nan was not at all impressed, but he kindly offered her and Toshiko a tour of the course first. Very nice. So Nan even got her own golf cart. Now that wasn't a good idea at all, was it? So her and Toshiko followed the Club Pro around at first. Nan hasn't driven for a few years, and I don't mean with a wood or a 9-iron, I mean something with 4 wheels. It's not a mark cart, that is, yeah. After a couple of stops, the old crows decided to forget the clubs and balls and play with the cart instead. Within no time, the pro had lost his tour party, and Nan and Toshiko were on a mission to severely disrupt just about every golfer on the course. Put it this way, 18 holes meant 18 opportunities for old crow mischief. Oh dear. Of course, those opportunities included lost balls, soon buried by the wheels of their terror cart. The rough was even rougher after Nan had attempted her 8-point turns with plenty of wheel spinning, whilst those little flag skip markers had been bent out of shape. They managed to flatten one of every colour before they even made it back to the clubhouse for drinks and a reunion with the Club Pro. But of course, back at the clubhouse, nobody was even close to be ready for another adventure. No, not dodging an out-of-control maniac in a golf cart, but a genuine scalping by the ancient card-sharp sisters. In fact, what started out as a friendly poker game soon ended up with money changing hands, and within no time at all, the other players were soon off track, off tee, and lacking a hole-in-one with their fast card-sharp and card-counting techniques. Oh dear, well, once Nan was in cahoots with her 103-year-old triple-dealing partner, they played 6 games and won 7. I know that sounds confusing, but Nan couldn't resist a coin toss for the entire pot at the end of the day, which she won. And that really was luck in the truest sense of the word. Unless, of course, the old bird's got a 2-headed coin, because I wouldn't put anything past her, She always coughs out loud and says, ladies first, and picks heads. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. When I'm not here, you can find me and my shows at nednatter.com. As you recall, me Farmhand Ding Dang is well and truly free from his short-lived marriage, Darlene Freebird. It was annulled and she's out of his life. Only now, it might have just got more complicated as Quentin me camper, tenant, painter and writer and coagulate, his peaceful partner, and now his new housemates. Well, after only a few weeks there, there'll be many changes in me Farmhand caused by Quentin's flamboyant eye for the farm guy. They even took him to this really odd place this week, a hairdresser. See, Ding Dang had experienced the odd run-in with a barber before, but mostly a haircut meant his mama putting a bowl on his head and trimming around the edges. But he'd never experienced a hairdresser. In this case, the overbearing, underdressed, overjeweled, medallion-wearing Raphael Constantino. An old buddy of Quentin's, and no relation, of course, to the former Roman emperor. The hair wash was done by his assistant. Apparently, the cut and styling started out surprisingly well. Obviously, the pre-wash murdered the fleas, ticks and lice. Towards the end, though, unfortunately, it all went sour when Ding Dang ran for the door, only half cut. See, Raphael, the man with the scissors and jangling bracelets, offered him a blow dry after he finished cutting. Although Ding Dang's ex took his TV, one of his dubious relatives showed up with a new one. It only worked for 3 days until the entire Ding Dang clan experienced an instant TV blackout experience. Yeah, there's a new technology out there, see, and the old manufacturers can shut down your TV if it shows up on the stolen list. Oh dear, well, Billy Ray Dang, the family electronics expert with shady sources, got busted this time. So this week's version of big screen TV at Ding Dang's place was streaming a few movies on Quentin's clunky 10-year-old laptop. Oh dear. Despite a week of drama, I've still got that unforgettable little feature on my show, though, you know, Ding Dang's southern quote. And this time it's, he's about as useless as a screen door on a submarine. This, according to him, relates directly to his cousin. Yup, he's got 47 of them. Only this one's Billy Ray Dang, after he sold him a $500 TV for $50, and it only worked for 3 days. Well, there is an old cliche though, isn't there? You know, you only get what you pay for. Yup, $50 doesn't buy a decent TV, that's for sure. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find all my shows again at nednatter.com. They're all stored for you there as podcasts, so if you want me repeats or can handle listening to me voice all over again, stop by and say hello. Well, next up I'm returning to the wife's favourite subject, food of course. Yep, Elsie's private recipes and ideas for cooking. That's her revolting offerings from the swamp. I cook my own food and leave her to that cosy relationship with the microwave. So this week I'm sure it's lots of sugar, perhaps a little bit more sugar, and then there's those nasty old condiments out there. You know, they're all hideous. But you'll just have to wait and see how repulsive it is this time. Here's the next of her so-called recipes. Yep, Elsie's cooking cock-ups. So, warm up your microwave and stand well clear in the cooking process. Yep, usually I stay in the barn behind a concrete wall. The recommended distance is at least 50 feet away. Further the better. So here's Elsie's shocking cereal surprise. This time it's one of her unique creations, no recipe book needed or online advice, it's all hers. Yep, full of shortcuts and hideous ingredients, no attempts interpreting anything you've ever heard of before. Oh dear, but as usual, she's got carried away and added her own selection of vile and volatile ingredients. So let's see. Elsie's written it all down here on the back of a box that once contained her so-called slimming shakes or weight loss drinks. Yep. Elsie drinks her way through about 6 boxes a week. Yep, 36 of them. Nothing like moderation, is there? The only slim part of it is the slim chance she'll ever lose any weight. Anyway, I'm digressing, aren't I? Yep, it's Iridius handwriting, alright, scrawled around the box. Trouble is, it's highly confusing. Her pen seems to only work on and off. I mean, I can't really see all of Elsie's ingredients. Maybe it's the cooking oil on the paper. Anyway, I'm filling in the gaps here and there. Add to that, there's the usual coffee, soda, ketchup and mustard stains here and there. Oh, and over there. That looks like dried up vanilla ice cream though, and Beyondit did put away a 5-gallon drum of it this week. Anyway, she started out with a big plastic dog bowl and 6 different boxes of breakfast cereal. Frosted Flakes, puffed rice, Rice Krispies, oat flakes and Fruit Loops. Then she added 1 pound of self-rising flour. Then 4 pounds of sugar, 1 pound of margarine, a pint of milk, and then endless bars of broken up chocolate. You know, I saw her carrying them to the microwave, but I can never tell just how much goes in the recipe as to how much goes in her mouth. See, cooking makes her hungry. Well, I've heard that one before. I just reckon it was going to turn out like a chocky, corny, flaky mess. And of course she added a highly personal touch. Yep, the usual array of nasty condiments. Sea salt, black pepper and allspice for extra flavouring. Sea salt and chocolate, never mind. Anyway, she then whisked it all up with the electric hammer drill, then cooked it for 20 minutes in the microwave oven at high heat. Half an hour or so later, she shoveled it out. It had all risen up all right and was overflowing. It looked like, well, I'll put it this way, it was brown with bits in it and smelled nasty. After a few minutes, it was ready to eat. Yeah, it's the only time I don't hear a word out of the wife. This time I was highly surprised though. Beyondit's sweet tooth had got the better of her and they finished it together. Yep, her usual excuse is her diabetes. Yeah, what diabetes, oh dear. I wonder when they'll get a cutlery app on their phones. By the way, as I've mentioned before, the Ned Natter Show will not be held responsible for the results. No, Elsie's cooking is undertaken at your own risk. It not only needs a strong stomach, it needs an even stronger oven. And if possible, a standalone concrete bomb-proof building. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find all my shows again at nednatter.com, where they're all stored for his podcasts. So if you want repeats and want to listen to me voice all over again, stop by and say hi. Me blind neighbour old Lonnie and his housemate nudist swinger old Fred have finally found a solution to their needs. Yeah, Fred's advertised his home on the swingers website as the best place in North Florida for a swingers party every Saturday night. Oh dear, it's called Do You Know Fred? And is a bring a bottle affair. And as Fred says, ideally bring your wife too. And with the wife, bring a potluck dish for the sharing and caring buffet table. It sounds just like the perfect solution, doesn't it? Fred gets to meet like-minded folks, and with any luck, their wives too. And old Lonnie hopes they can all cook. Whether they're men or women is irrelevant to him. He just wants plenty of free food. Well, on the family front, when she's not complaining about, well, just pick a subject and she complains. My 95-year-old mother, old Nan, the miserable old crow herself, has a little feature on my show. Yeah, old Nan remembers. Oh dear, it's a little bout of what's professionally termed reminiscence therapy. This time, old Nan remembers the day she lost her. No, that was at least 80 years ago. I'm talking about a driving licence. Yep, I don't mean she just mislaid it either. Oh no, not with old Nan. Actually, I think the order of the day was something like this. Drinking and driving, bad eyesight, failing to stop, failing to yield, failing to have her lights on, failing to wear a seatbelt, having an open liquor container in her lap, leaving the scene of an accident, eluding the cops, and lastly assaulting the arresting officer with her toxic breath. After all, it was the judge that took away her driving licence. You know, we've all felt a bit safer ever since. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. When I'm not here, you can find me and my shows at nednatter.com. Well, that lovely, twangy old music means it's time again for me book reviews. Yep, I get my hands on a few and I feature them right here on my show. Just remember, I've got a great system here. Yep, if a book's shite, it goes on me compost heap. Sometimes if it's really bad, you have to burn it. Middle of road books go in the giveaway charity box, and the good or reasonable ones usually stay on my farm library shelf. I hope that's all nice and clear for you. Okay, our new mail carrier and his struggling mail van is making it to the farm now. Well, mostly since he's had to visit on account of Elsie and Beyondit's online shopping mania. Anyway, I've ended up with just one book this time. Well, and a bill for 8 new flagsticks for the Greenways Golf course. I wonder why that happened. Anyway, this one's not only useless to farmers, it's just plain useless. Anyway, I'm digressing again. The book's called The Digital Nomad by I'm a Con Jr. Oh dear. Yeah, it's another print-on-demand book, but as you'd expect, it's probably not in much demand. See, it's a book written by someone you really don't want to know anything about. He calls himself a digital nomad. Yeah. To start with, and to be a true nomad, you'd never have access to electronics or digital stuff, would you? You'd be wandering around the wilderness, enjoying nature's bounty, not poking around social media in your sandals. So I decided I'd do a bit of research on this one and found out the truth about Mr. Con Jr. In reality, it gets worse. He sits in his 50-year-old RV in the Walmart parking lot in Sacramento, posting pictures of his international nomadic travels. Only he never goes further than the parking lot. He's a bit agoraphobic and a big shaggy untamed beard, which is also home to the only wildlife you'll ever get to see, hangs around his face. He sticks his ugly mugshot on photos he downloads from the internet and then fabricates an article detailing his experiences by reading about these places on Wikipedia. I wanted to compost this book the moment I saw the author's photo. I didn't need to see the content at all. Anyway, I wanted a faster solution, so I'm doing the honourable thing. Burning it. Well, me lovelies, that's all on me book review feature this time around. This is Ned Natter here, the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find me and my shows again at nednatter.com, where they're all stored for you as podcasts. So if you want me repeats and can handle listening to my old voice all over again, stop by and say hi. I got a listener favourite coming up right now. Yeah, me anomalies from around the world feature. And this time we're visiting China again. Oh yes, or should I say oh dear, it's another foodie one. I knew you'd be missing at least something revolting in my show. Anyway away from Elsie, that is, yeah. Still, I recommend holding off on eating until later. Actually, with this one, I'd say tomorrow. Anyway, this little thing is called Virgin Boy Eggs. Yeah, sounds weird, doesn't it? And it's one of the worst to date. Anyway, added to that, who on earth ever thought this one up to begin with? Anyway, they're regular hen eggs, alright, yeah, treated to a special extra process, yeah, and a vile one too. See, they go out and collect urine, from the schools. Prepubescent boy urine, that is. Yeah, under 10 years old is preferred, and then they soak the eggs in it. Then boil them in it. After that, the boiled eggs are cracked and then put in a fresh batch of it. An extra soak. Oh dear, yuck. This is supposed to give this so-called food a unique flavour. I just have to say it again. Who on earth dreamt this up? I've heard of fried eggs, boiled eggs and poached eggs, but pissed eggs? No thank you. This is Ned Natter, the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find me and all my shows again at nednatter.com. Leaving Chinese cuisine, yeah, hopefully for good. That's my highly technical expression for some of the world's worst revolting food. Well, now we're heading to England. Yep, see, I got a call from Nigel Ponce, the arrogant old catfish-faced gentleman farmer. Me brother young buck skipped the USA and manages Ponce's old farm on his rambling estate. After living in Pennsylvania for 15 years, Buck naturally picked up plenty of American expressions and he really enjoys confusing Ponce with them. Ponce has to call me for an explanation. See, he hasn't got the internet in the manor. Just good old-fashioned manners. So how could I leave the subject of Nigel Ponce without mentioning me special feature right here on the Ned Natter Show? It's called American for Foreigners. After all, Ponce finds most regular phrases and sayings foreign. Oh dear, well, here goes American for Foreigners with me arrogant British aristocratic contributor. First up though, here's his latest voicemail message.
You have messages.
Well, hello, Ned. This is Nigel Ponce calling you from England. Your brother Buck has been confusing me again, old chap. Oh dear, yes. He's been mentioning things like congressmen, senators and governors and tells me they're all parts of government over there. I've got absolutely no idea. Here I have to deal with my local member of parliament, Charles Fortescue Buchanan Smythe. So, all these other people, no idea, old chap. So, perhaps you give me a call? Let me know what on earth he's talking about. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Well, that's easy, Nigel. Let me translate it for you. You see, Buck keeps droning on about American politics and Nigel's baffled. Yeah, Ponce only has to deal with his neighbour, a local member of the British Parliament. Whereas Buck, he's rattled on and on about congressmen, senators and governors. So to help out Ponce, I'm going to spell it out for him in easy to understand language. Okay, well, Nigel, first up, a congressman or woman is a person who represents their state for 2 years at a time. They then spend 2 years fundraising to get another 2 years, and then 2 years fundraising to get another 2, and so on. In the middle of all that fundraising, they try and represent their state in the capital. Yeah, it's a vicious circle, all right. So moving on, a senator has 4 years to play with before hoping for another term. Yep, much more relaxed existence, eh? While governors sit in charge of an entire state, and no matter how large, small, rich or poor, they get rent-free accommodation in a mansion for, yep, you've guessed it, 6 years. Of course, the president has many other benefits, He has a private jet, a private helicopter, a fleet of large cars, and lives rent-free in the heart of the nation's capital, in an enormous White House in a prime location for 4 years. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Whilst everyone else has to commute to work. Oh dear. I hope that answers your questions this time around, Nigel. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. When I'm not here, you can find me and my shows at nednatter.com. Other than receiving a pile of his mail by mistake, I headed over to me and consummate political commentating neighbour old Rush's Stonewall Jackson farm to not only drop off his mail, but listen to the latest far-fetched second-hand news from the right centre, and all in instalments. Yep, with a weak bladder, he's always rushing off, and the poor old mucker and his folks have got a one-track political agenda, haven't they? Yep, they're still working on getting in every possible vote for their GOP buddies. But now my neighbour, Old Rush, and our new neighbour, Jeremy Sprung, the polyamorous political commentating Democrat ex-TV host, are head-to-head in competition for those precious votes. See, I've attempted some balance on my show by featuring a few words from the Democratic camp across the road with Jeremy Sprung. As Rush likes to say, only a Democrat could be polyamorous. Add to that, Rush is still trying to convince me that his folks can do no wrong. Oh dear, well, either way, Rush hasn't got the stage all to himself anymore. But this time he immediately smiled and lectured Sprung on all the problems with the radical left. Yep, radical left is his latest byword. Well, I suppose it's a step down from last week's Marxist remarks. That's something, I suppose, but Rush's opinions drift in and out with the tide, so maybe next week Sprung will be just an outright communist. Of course, Sprung hoped to give Old Rush some drama and present the Democratic case, only this time Sprung has learnt how to play Rush at his own game. Oh yeah, soundbite for soundbite. He just told Rush that he's actually right-handed and not radically left-handed at all. Oh dear, Rush was close to exploding, of course, and then rattled on and on about his second favourite hot-button issue. Yep, $1 trillion initiatives. Oh dear. Yep, Rush thinks it's got out of hand, but of course his words tailed off as he excused himself as usual with his standard statement. Gotta go, Ned. Oh dear. By now Sprung even knows that Rush has always gotta go, and Flush will never quite finishing his little rant. Despite his rushing off, Rush called me later in the day to not only further complain about Jeremy $1 trillion Sprung and the radical left, but with his Tennessee teaser. That's his homegrown style of humour, and he said to me his ideas couldn't carry a tune if he had them in a bucket with a lid on it. Oh dear, he's on the attack again, and Sprung's hardly had a look in. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find all my shows again at nednatter.com, where they're all stored for you as podcasts. So if you want me repeats, you can listen to me voice all over again, stop by and say hi. Me lovely neighbour young Alice Jones invited me over for our weekly vegan cake and fair trade coffee sit down. A few weeks ago we chatted about pet hens, yep, with a free collar and leash, and Alice still has that idea on the back burner for now. Last time though, Alice was juggling with the occult again, only this time she's saying I should take more notice of her important tarot card readings, yeah, and change the toxic environment that exists in me farmhouse. Of course, by that she means me being severely outnumbered, overwhelmed, encumbered and put upon by the 4 of the world's most hideous women. Yep, that's Nan and Toshiko, and of course Elsie and Beyondit. Of course she's right, but what can I do without drama right now? I'm a bit like a tree, unable to move and plagued with parasites. Well, 4 of them anyway. Oh dear, well, I'm just glad the coffee and cake was reliably nice, as usual. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. When I'm not here, you can find me and my shows at nednatter.com. Well, me lovelies, it's time for this week's questions and odd news items from you, me listeners. Yep, I got it all here on the Ned Natter Show. Right then, me first item comes from Donald in Detroit, and he's called me about something strange. He's seen these little interesting products online and grouped them together to tell me all about them. But I'm worried. See, I was hoping to dodge toilet humour on my show. For starters, black toilet paper. That's bad enough, isn't it? Then there's a roll of unperforated toilet paper. That's just plain funny, you know. I'm going to buy a roll of that for Rush. But the last one is just too much, you know. Toilet paper with a former president's face on it and a toilet brush shaped like his hair and head. I've heard of going around the bend, but that's taking things too far. I reckon there's a few countries in the world where you get executed for that one, wouldn't you? My second one comes from Henry in Houston, and he's concerned about this thing he found online. Where else? It's called a bubble wrap calendar. Yep, you pop the days as they arrive. Well, I've heard of starting the day with a bang, but a pop would be just an anticlimax for me, wouldn't it? Yep, little things, little minds, I suppose. Yep. Oh dear. On the other hand, I could get one for me daughter, young Dolly. You know, she could burst the bubbles instead of her teenage zits. My third item this time comes from Martha in Montana, and she decided to baffle me with a really bizarre statement. Yeah. Assholes in the desert are actually popular. Oh dear. Now there I was thinking about a bunch of assholes in New Mexico or Las Vegas. Oh dear again. I shouldn't have mentioned the Vegas word, as it wakes up old Nan instantly from her afternoon nap. Drunk or sober, she'll be looking for chips or calling for cards. Anyway, I'm digressing again, aren't I? But when I got clarification from Martha, I discovered something quite different. You know, horses, asses, or donkeys if you like, dig well holes in the desert searching for water. And these holes are used by a bunch of other desert animals and creatures that find them useful for a handy drink nearby. Oh well. I just remembered the word drink disturbs the old crow too. And of course, desert and dessert sounds similar, so doubtless the wife will be surfacing too.
Ned? Are you in there, Ned?
This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show. I'm here every Wednesday, but you can find all my shows again at nednatter.com. They're all stored for you there as podcasts, so if you want me repeats, you can handle listening to me voice all over again. Stop by and say hi. The dubious con-man agent 50% is lining me up with a new ad this week, and he's got something really odd this time around. You're just going to love our unique range of vacations. Yep, that's vacations. We've got every possible location on Earth covered right here. Add to that, we have the lowest prices, and that's our world travel guarantee. Just visit our website, fakeyourvacation.net, and we'll place you anywhere on Earth for pennies on the dollar in minutes. You stay right at home, upload your photo on our instant travel page, and we'll send you your vacation snaps back in 24 hours. Yep, be the envy of your friends, family and neighbours. Yes, find the best deals on travel right here. But wait, we're offering an unrepeatable buy one vacation, get one free deal on every vacation purchased this month. So hurry. We'll even put your face on another international destination for free. Join us today and accept our no obligation free gift. That's a 15-ounce can of our specially formulated super fake spray tan Brown Magic. And of course, if you've already got a great tan, just take 10% off the price at checkout using our special code Brown Enough. Can't be a deal like that anywhere on Earth. You know, that's making me think about the possibilities. You know, I could just move out into my barn, or even maybe into young Alice's Zen room, and get those folks to send the wife photos of me in the middle of Sahara Desert, yep, even sitting on a camel, and send one of those old style, highly sarcastic cards with the photos. Wish you were here. Oh dear. This is Ned Natter here with the Ned Natter Radio Show, and whichever way you dice it, this show is unpasteurised and unfiltered. But that's all, me lovelies, and on that note, we better go. So until next time, remember, farmers are getting older, some more than others. It's time some new blood came down on the farm and gave us an hand. Shite matters, without us, you wouldn't have anything to eat. Without me, your Wednesdays won't be much fun. In the meantime, you can find me and all my radio shows at nednatter.com. Yep, they're all safe use podcasts too. Add to that, there's me social media links. So come by and say hi. It'd be great to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening. It's been a pleasure chatting with you again. And I hope you'll join me on the Ned Natter Show soon. So until then, keep a smile on your face. Think positive and don't sweat the small stuff. The grass is not always greener on the other side. It might just be a freeway. Goodbye, me lovelies.